medicine.
Hear this well.
Hear this well. Please hear this well.
Hear this well.
My grandson,
daughter Lily, and my daughter.
My son was fully vaccinated.
My son Jackson.
I had a healthy, typically developing boy.
Please hear this well. Hear this well.
A lot of people say, Brandy, so you worked in pharma. They don't really like it when ex-employees speak out. Why do you do this? You know what? They don't. They don't play nice. But I do this for him. Because he is my world, and I want a better world for him. A world with better health. A world where we have the right to decide what goes into our bodies. Because what more fundamental right do we have than to our health? I did not start speaking out until SB 277 last year. Probably a lot of you know about that. It's the law in California now that says my son, who is 5 years of age and completely vaccine-free and perfectly healthy, cannot go to school, public or private, in this state. But this is only the beginning. I cried for 2 weeks when I heard about SB 277 because I had this feeling, this innate feeling that something was coming, that I had a big mission in this life. My mom used to say the only reason she was born was to give birth to me because I was going to change the world. She died when she was 40. I was her only child. I knew something was coming. And when I heard about SB 277, I cried for 2 weeks because I thought, oh my God, I am meant to speak out against a company that is larger than most small countries. That is, holy smokes, that's not exactly what I planned in this lifetime. This is only the beginning, SB 277. USA Today wants all parents that don't vaccinate to be in jail. Time magazine wants all of their addresses released publicly, like a sexual predators database. And you know what I learned in pharma? They always drop hints. Those who have the privilege to know have a duty to act. So people always ask me, why? Why would you take on pharma? Are you crazy? Well, yeah, I'm crazy. I'm crazy enough to think I can, grow an army to do it. And I know that I was put here to do this, and I have the knowledge. And somebody's got to act. And we cannot rely on everybody else to do it for us. We have to take back our health, and we have to stand up to the system. Each and every one of us in this room. How did I get here? When I was working at Merck, I was a sales rep for Vioxx. The whole scandal started when it was discovered that Merck had manipulated data and covered up the fact that Vioxx actually caused twice the amount of heart attacks and strokes than the placebo. What I learned from that experience was just because things are on the market does not mean they are safe. I think we get into a very dangerous territory with vaccinations. If a drug company gets just one vaccine added to the schedule, they can make upwards of $30 billion in 1 year. Does anyone remember Vioxx? Oh, yeah, it killed people. It killed people, and Merck knew it. So another reason I'm here today is because I sold a drug that killed people, and that haunts me. So when I came back with my vaccine-free son from Europe, and I saw this whole push for vaccines, and when SB 277 came onto the docket, I said, holy smokes, this is where they're going next. I cannot not speak out about this. My experience selling Vioxx, which I won sales awards for, 4 times increase in heart attack and risk and death. Merck knew this. They stopped a study that we were already talking about with doctors. And then all of a sudden, your materials are confiscated and you can't talk about it anymore. And if you ask questions, well, you don't get answers. It was the largest drug recall ever. $6 billion was paid out in fines. But you know what? It was still a blockbuster drug. They still made $10 billion off of it. All of those lawsuits, all of the people that died, just the cost of doing business. Profit over people. That's what they care about. We cannot rely on that system. The FDA officially said 50,000 died. Others say 500,000 people died of Vioxx in the 5 years it was on the market, and it never should have been on the market. I left before it was even pulled from market. The shadiness that was going down was too much for me. The indoctrination starts early. You guys know this. 200 Harvard med students said, get pharma out of our education. Get them out of our professors' offices. Get them out of our curriculum. Pharma has ghostwriters. I have a friend in New York City who does it, who writes curriculum for medical schools. They write the textbooks. And you know what Harvard did? Absolutely nothing. We have to save ourselves. What about research? Everybody says, oh, Brandy, but there are studies backing up vaccines. Who funds them? Who funds them? Pharma funds 75% of pharmaceutical drug studies. They fund pretty much all of the vaccine studies, either through the NIH or through a foundation, through the CDC. They're biased. But don't believe me. Believe Dr. Richard Horton. He's the current editor-in-chief of The Lancet, one of the most prestigious medical journals. He even says, today, perhaps half of scientific literature is simply untrue. Why? Because of conflicts of interest. Small study samples, biased. Did you know that pharma can stop a study that gets negative results and not even tell the FDA? They did it with Vioxx because it's legal. What about the FDA? They're here to protect us, right? They're the regulatory agency. They protect us from dangerous chemicals in the food, in water, and drugs, right? Do you know who was just put to head the FDA? Dr. Califf? Has anyone heard about this? This right here is a scandal. Even the New York Times said his drug ties are scaring people. He is the ultimate pharmaceutical industry insider. Conflict of interest section declaring financial support from 20 biotech and pharmaceutical companies, and he's heading the regulatory agency. His famous quote, regulation disrupts innovation. Does that scare anyone? Because that scares me. The CDC, Center for Disease Control, is just as bad. Julie Gerberding, she ran the CDC for 7 to 8 years. She doubled the vaccine schedule. The childhood vaccine schedule was doubled in her tenure. Guess what? She got a really good reward. She went to head Merck's global vaccine division worth $5 billion. 2 months into it, she cashed in $3 million in stock options. Pharmaceutical industry, you guys know this. They create customers, cradle-to-grave customers. But us adults, you know, we're already on a ton of meds. Where's the real money? It's in the kids. And it's in vaccines. Because they have created so many diseases and disorders, they're running out. They're running out of ways to make us more sick. But they can create vaccines for all of those diseases they've already created.
We have a highly profitable product because the safety testing isn't as rigorous as a normal pharmaceutical drug. The gold standard is double-blind, placebo-based, long-term study. And that just isn't done with vaccines because they're classified in a different way as a public health measure. And they haven't been tested in combination with other vaccines. Yet doctors give 6 to 9 doses per visit. It's insane. If pharmaceutical drug was tested like this, it wouldn't be on the market. But because it's a vaccine and the safety testing is less rigorous, our children are being experimented on.
The prescription drug market is saturated. It's full. It's overly competitive. You have 6 to 8, maybe 10 drugs per disease state. There's not a lot of room. There's not a lot of market there. And it's full of liability, the $6 billion that was paid out after Vioxx. They can't keep creating diseases and drugs and all of that. But what a brilliant market strategy to go into vaccines. That's where they're heading next for profit. And every single person in here is just another customer. And if you think they aren't going to get you, just wait. I'm going to show you how they plan to. How are they doing on their quest to keep us sick? These are some shocking numbers. 1 in every 3 men will die, 1 in every 4 women of cancer. 1 in 12 women now have an autoimmune disorder. I see it in my friends in their 30s. Lupus, arthritis, gut issues, IBS, Crohn's disease. I got IBS right after a Hep B round. I had hives, and I got arrhythmia.
Opdivo can cause your immune system to attack normal organs and tissues in your body and affect how they work. This may happen anytime during or after treatment has ended and may become serious and lead to death. See your doctor right away if you experience new or worsening cough, chest pain, shortness of breath, diarrhea, severe stomach pain or tenderness, severe nausea or vomiting, extreme fatigue, constipation, excessive thirst or urine, swollen ankles, loss of appetite, rash, itching, headache, confusion, hallucinations, muscle or joint pain, flushing, fever, or weakness, as this may keep these problems from becoming more serious. These are not all the possible side effects of Opdivo. Tell your doctor about all your medical conditions, including immune system.
All of these things on here, they're considered side effects of vaccines. Have you seen the vaccine inserts? I don't make this stuff up. There are thousands of studies showing the links between vaccines and the toxins and these issues that we're seeing. It's not just the vaccines, but they're a part of it. 60 million have allergies, 30 million have asthma. These are all autoimmune disorders. Do you know, my friends in Europe, they're like, Brandy, what do you mean you can't bring peanuts to your son's school because of allergies? Like, who's allergic to food? That doesn't make sense. You're allergic to food and to air, hay fever, right? Wild animals who aren't a part of our medical system, don't get vaccinated. Do they have asthma? Do they have hay fever? Are they allergic to food? Are they allergic to air? What is normal in our country should never be normal. This is not normal. And we shouldn't accept it as normal. The U.S. has some of the highest rates of chronic illness. All of these, dementia, Alzheimer's, they're all skyrocketing. 1 in 3 people have a chronic disorder or issue. Is anyone paying attention? I know a lot of us in here are pretty darn healthy because we know this stuff. But we're the ones who have to get out there on the front lines and connect the dots for everyone who doesn't see this, who doesn't get it. That's our job, our role. Our kids are even worse off. 1 in 6 kids have a developmental delay. Speech therapy, occupational therapy is one of the biggest growing career opportunities right now. 1 in 7 have asthma. 1 in 15 have seizure disorders. And do you know what happens after vaccines now? Children are going to the ER with seizures and they're being told it's normal.
Lauren Kane's seizures began 2 hours after her shot. The U.S. Vaccine Court said the vaccine was the cause. Her injuries were profound and eventually claimed her life.
Parents are being told that febrile seizures are normal. That is not normal. And those are the lucky ones that make it to the ER. We have 10,000 babies dying of SIDS every year within days of vaccines.
Come on, honey. I'm right here again. Ma'am? Jesus. Ma'am?
Shelley Walker made this 911 call September 15th after finding her 4-month-old son Vance in his crib, unresponsive and limp.
Your baby's not breathing.
Blood crusted under his eyes and a dark foam coming from his mouth onto the teddy bear blanket lying beside him.
He's so cold. Please, dear God, what's taking him so long?
Medics arrived on scene minutes later and rushed Vance to Kootenai Medical Center.
And I had knelt down and I yelled into his ear. I said, Vance, don't you quit. Don't you give up on me. You fight. And at that point, when I looked up, the doctor was shaking his head like that and said that Vance was gone and that he'd been gone for several hours.
Shelley says she immediately thought of the vaccines Vance received just 2 days before.
And at that point, I don't know if they had picked him up and handed him to me. I just know that I had him in my arms and I held him up and I said he was so big and strong and healthy. Was this the damn vaccines? Was this the vaccines?
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says no. An autopsy marks the cause of death for Vance Walker, sudden infant death syndrome.
The bottom line is still that We do not know what causes SIDS, and the other bottom line from a number of studies is that vaccines are not the culprit.
And several independent scientific reviews from governments around the world claim the same thing. Still, it's hard for some to believe, considering Vance wasn't the only one. In all, 3 North Idaho infants would die of SIDS, all baby boys, all in a 2-month span, and all within 1 week of getting their 4-month vaccinations.
This is the first generation of kids that is sicker than their parents, and experts say they will not outlive them. What is going on? I'll tell you, medical science has made such tremendous progress that there's hardly a healthy human left. In the Mayo Clinic, cancer is a mutation of genes after birth. It is not genetic. Don't let anyone play that little argument with you. After birth, due most often to environmental toxins, chemicals, smoking, pollution, radiation. Autoimmune disorders, mostly due to environmental factors, same thing. We're poisoning ourselves. And there are a lot of things that are part of this picture. The air we breathe, the food we eat. We're under a toxic soup, and we have to control whatever exposures we can and minimize it. And you know what? Vaccines are a part of that. Vaccines contain those same chemicals that we don't want to breathe in. The formaldehyde that we, in the Chinese wood flooring. Did you hear about that? Yeah, don't get wood floors from China, guys, because it off-gases formaldehyde, and that causes cancer according to the EPA. But don't talk about it in vaccines.
Vaccines are really the one thing we have looked at as causing autism.
I agree with you. That is completely bogus. That is such a bogus statement. How many vaccines have they looked at in these studies? How many? What's the answer? It's 2. How many ingredients have they studied of 35? What's the answer? It's 1. You've looked at 2 of 36 shots and 1 of 35 vaccines, and you're going to stand on the stage and say that vaccines and autism are unrelated? It is the most bogus tobacco science. It's a smokescreen. Anybody who takes the time to read it would agree. We are so frustrated by not being heard. We are so tired of not being heard. And we're so tired of hearing doctors like the second doctor there who says it's been proven that vaccines and autism are unrelated. It's simply untrue, and it's maddening as a parent.
Injection versus ingestion. This is so critical. We have to get people to understand this. Those same chemicals that are in the food and the water, flint, all of this, formaldehyde, aluminum, heavy metals, lead, all of that, in vaccines. Why is nobody talking about this? To me, that's crazy. Why aren't we talking about this? And I hope after this talk, you will talk about it. Because we need to. Somebody needs to. Because our health has taken a nosedive. And Pharma is going to keep pounding us. They aren't done. So my eyes are wide open, right? Sold Vioxx, saw how corrupt the healthcare system is, how Pharma is. Then I went to live in Europe for 8 years, and I saw what health is, what real health is. And I realized we have a sick care system. We're just treating symptoms. That's not health. Our healthcare system doesn't care about our health. They profit off us keeping us sick. So, lived in Holland, had my son over there, natural birth, at home, with midwives. They didn't even want to talk about vaccines with me. They asked, hey, vaccines, you want to talk about it? I said, he's perfectly healthy. Why would I want to talk about vaccines? They go, good. We don't want to either. Yes. Come back to San Francisco. 6 months old, my son is, totally vaccine-free. I go to a baby visit, but let's call it what it is, right? It's a vaccine visit. I mean, 75% of their money off the baby visits, vaccines. That's how pediatricians make their money. That's why you don't see very many of them up here on this stage. Vaccine visit. Doctor goes, oh, he needs 15 vaccines. You need to catch him up. And I said, he's pretty darn healthy. I think I'm going to pass on those. And he's like, oh, trust me. And I'm like, I used to work for Merck. I know not to trust you. And I know... And I know that I'm not trusting you with my research. I want to do my own. I want to see some inserts. He got all red in the face and like, and he walked out, right? Nurse comes in. She's like, we'll see you in 2 months. And I'm like, You're not seeing me ever again. You kidding me? Son has never been back. Perfectly healthy. No allergies, no asthma, no vaccines, no chronic issues. We have play dates and they're like, what can he eat? What? Huh? What do you mean? That's not normal. That's not normal. We cannot accept this. Fight back.
In 1987, there was an MMR vaccine that was being used in Canada, produced by SmithKline Beecham, and that vaccine caused meningitis. It was quickly recognized, and that vaccine was withdrawn. However, in the same month that it was withdrawn in Ontario, it was licensed in the UK. The name was simply changed from Trivirix to Pluzirix. In the UK, it was used for 4 years, and likewise it caused meningitis and had to be rapidly withdrawn. It was a public outcry. There was an acute loss of confidence by the public in vaccine policymakers, and the vaccine should, at that point, have been destroyed. But it wasn't. It was then shipped to developing countries like Brazil, where it was used in a mass vaccination campaign, and again resulted in an epidemic of meningitis, which was entirely predictable.
I started studying vaccines after that visit, and what I saw was far worse, far more shocking than anything I saw with Vioxx. Are vaccines about health, really? Well, don't trust a lot that the World Health Organization says, but I love this slide because it talks about vaccines as a business. A new engine for growth, a new engine for profit. And look at these numbers. These numbers, we've already trumped this. It's going to be worth $100 billion by 2018, not 2025. These numbers are 3 years old. We're going to trump these numbers. So when a health organization shows a slide like this, don't you kind of wonder, like, are they really focused on health? Or are they focused on business?
You've invested $10 billion in vaccinations over the last 2 decades, and you figured out the return on investment for that, and it kind of stunned me. Can you walk us through the math?
You know, we see a phenomenal track record. It's been $100 billion overall that the world's put in. Our foundation is a bit more than $10 billion, but we feel there's been over a 20-to-1 return. So if you just look at the economic benefits, that's a pretty strong number compared to anything else.
Read this slide. If you take anything away from this talk, it will be one thing. Vaccines have never been proven safe, ever, ever. When I was a pharma rep, the gold standard for safety testing was double-blind, placebo-based, long-term studies. Without that, you could not get a pharma drug on the market. Vaccines are not classified as a prescription drug. They're classified as a blood and biological product. The testing they undergo is substandard, very low. They don't even put placebo against the vaccine. They put the vaccine against another vaccine and say, oh, well, they killed the same amount of people and they harmed the same amount of people, therefore must be safe. The FDA goes, rubber stamp, thanks for coming. Here you go.
It used to be 1 in 10,000, and now it's 1 in more than 250 kids that are being damaged in this country that are autistic. Now, those kids are going to grow up. They aren't going to die. It's not like a lot of diseases where they get infected and they drop dead. They're going to live to be 50, 60 years old. Now, who do you think is going to take care of them? It's going to be us, all of us, the taxpayers. And it's going to cost, I think, as you said, Ms. Maloney, trillions of dollars. So we can't let the pharmaceutical companies and our government cover this mess up today because it ain't gonna go away. And it's gonna cost the taxpayers trillions more if we wait around on it. And for our FDA and HHS and the health agencies to continue to hide behind this facade that there have been studies that conclusively prove otherwise is just wrong too.
And you know what? They are never gonna be safe. Don't fall for that, safer vaccines. They will never be made safe because there's no liability. 1986, the federal government gave pharmaceutical companies complete lawsuit protection for vaccines. No liability, only one of 2 industries in the whole US that's protected federally because the Supreme Court said they're unavoidably unsafe. They are not safe and they never will be. And you know what? After that law passed, this is what the schedule did. Tripled. So if you ever hear anyone say, oh, you know what, I'm fine and I'm vaccinated, if they're over the age of 5, not relevant. It's a totally different story this day. And when you hear that, be like, oh, you got 72 vaccines? They'll be like, no, of course not. Then you're not vaccinated. The immune system's not mature. Why so many so early? We're giving 6 to 9 doses. There's no combination studies, no brain-blood barrier. We are poisoning our children. Do you know what's in that needle? You guys do. You're chiropractors. Aluminum, mercury, formaldehyde, MSG, polysorbate 80, linked to infertility. Guess what's a big business these days? The last one nobody likes to hear about, right? Foreign human and animal DNA. But I'm going to go there because I'm taking on Pharma. So why would I not go there? Why would I sugarcoat it? Where do you think Planned Parenthood's selling all those babies? Yeah. And where are the churches? Aluminum, the top one on here, no neurotoxin. It's linked to breast cancer through traditional deodorant, right? Pharma's laughing at us because they have a vaccine for breast cancer that they're developing. Guess what the adjuvant is? Aluminum! They're blatantly laughing at us. Holy smokes, we need to be out there screaming this from the rooftop. Oh, but everyone says, but immunity, Brandy, vaccines saved us. Immunity does not occur from the arm. You cannot bypass the natural immune system and inject things into the arm and have immunity. It does not create real immunity. Temporary rise in antibodies, which can last, months to years. Antibodies, not real immunity. You cannot bypass the immune system and expect real immunity. It also bypasses the detox system, and that's why we're seeing so much damage, so much sickness. But, don't believe a lot that the CDC says, but this is a really great report that's probably going to be pulled off the website tomorrow. The CDC credits chlorinated water for the reduction in infectious disease. Chlorinated water, not vaccines. That's Pharma. That's Pharma spinning it. Number 2 killer in the US in 1900, the year 1900, tuberculosis. Cholera was in there too. Pneumonia. No vaccine programs. So if vaccines were really saving us, we'd all be dead. The best defense against disease, a healthy, strong immune system, not overloaded with toxins. From food, from water, from air. And this is what everyone in here needs to get everyone they know to understand. They have to mandate them. But they're starting with the mandates for kids, but that's not what they're looking at. They're looking at that 85% of adults that, according to the CDC, are not up to date on their vaccines. Unvaccinated. Boosters are just the same vaccine. It's one size fits all. That 85%, every single one in this room, is where Pharma wants to get their next profit. But we don't like shots, right? So they start with the kids, because parents are used to giving shots to kids. And kids can be restrained and forced. So they start with the kids, with mandating the kids first. So it'll look normal to mandate adults later. No, adult immunization program. Healthy People 2020, they wanted all adults vaccinated with 130 vaccines over the course of a lifetime by 2020. They're a little bit behind in that schedule, but not far. And they're not stopping with that. There are almost 300 vaccines in development. Everybody says, but Brandy, you know what? They are not getting that needle towards me. They're not going to get me. And I'm like, do you have health insurance? And they're like, yeah, of course. You have to have health insurance. It's mandated. Boom. Then they're going to get you. So everyone in here that thinks that homeschooling is going to save you, that thinks that a medical exemption is going to save you, that thinks that I don't have kids, I'm fine. My kids are older, I'm fine. Wrong. That's what they want you to think, so you'll stop fighting. They are coming after every single one of us. And it's up to every single one of us in here to do something about it.
This is experimental bio-warfare on the people. They have not been approved.
Guess what? We're coming for all the marginal seats. You're finished. I hope you've had fun. You need to start looking for another job because you're done.
Simultaneous rallies happened in other cities, including Adelaide, where Dan Andrews was front and centre, then Brisbane's Botanic Gardens, and in Sydney's Hyde Park.
The system is broken in so many ways. Each and every one of you has to stand up in whatever capacity you can.
95% of people innately know that that needles aren't good for us. We see a needle come near us and we shrink away. So that other 5%, they work for Pharma, so we'll just not even bother with them. 95%, they need someone to connect the dots. That's up to us. We need to put sane, educated faces to those who question vaccines. We need to get rid of the stigma. And we need to talk about risk, because nobody will fight for their rights if they don't know there's a risk. We all wear seatbelts, right? Why? We'll just let there be a law that we have to do something in our own property, on our own body, because there's no perceived risk. If we don't talk about risk, nobody will fight. And Merck used to tell us 10 to 12 times people have to hear something before they'll change their mindset, before they'll question it. But on that 15th time, you got them. So every time I hear, but no, people aren't listening, Brandy. Yes, they are. We just have to keep repeating. And it has to come from different sources. It can't come from one person. That's why I created a campaign with billboards. I created it with bus stop boards, Facebook posts. Grassroots effort. We're launching grassroots local groups everywhere. This is how we do it. And you know what? They may have the money, but we have the truth. We have the truth, and we have the people, and we have the passion, and we have the power.
Journalists, stand up. Be brave. Be brave. All of you doctors that know the truth, you're seeing these children injured. You tell me off of camera, I know vaccines are causing autism, but I won't say it in front of camera. Be brave. Stand up. Now is the time. For every actor here in Hollywood not vaccinating your child, hiding, being quiet, worried about your career, stand up. Be brave. Be brave, America. Fight. Our democracy is hanging in the balance. Our health is hanging in the balance. Our children are being sold to the pharmaceutical industry. We are being enslaved.
In 1 year, Learn the Risk has done 20 billboards. We've reached 15 million people with views, 3 bus stop boards with over 4 million views. That's 20 million people. We need to make it 300 million times 15. Facebook weekly reach of 1 million. Tens of thousands on the website. 10 booths at health-oriented events, major rallies, protests. And you know what? The media is watching. If you're loud enough, the media will talk about it. But we haven't been loud enough. And we haven't given them anything to talk about. The momentum is growing, but I need every single one in here to help be a part of that army. Make a difference, please. Don't look back 10 years from now and think, damn, I wish I would listen to Brandy more. I wish I would have done something. I never knew it would get this bad. Because that's where we're headed. And I see it because I worked in pharma. I know exactly what they're doing. Please listen, because nobody ever thought SB 277 would pass either, and it did. Don't look back in 10 years and regret you didn't do more. We need voices, time. Use your money, use your voice. Be a part of this army. Please, now. We don't have time today. Don't expect someone else to do it for you. Because every child, every family that has experienced life-altering situation because of vaccines, everyone who has died, it's for them. And it's to save everyone else from that. And that includes your families and your friends. You have no idea who is going to be affected negatively. Please, do it now. Please be the change you want to see in the world. Please do this. The future of this humanity and this world is counting on us. And we already have it won if we fight. Please be the change. Thank you.
Say thank you, thank you, thank you, 'cause I'm so grateful, oh grateful, I'm so grateful. So I want to say thank you for